Hey guys, this is the first part in my series, 5 things to focus on when you're starting out on YouTube. And this series isn't about a bunch of tactics, gimmicks, or tricks to get subscribers and views. It's a series on helping you when you're starting out on YouTube, or maybe you've been doing this for a while and you just need to go back to the basics, but look at what you're focused in on and how do you build a foundation for success. It's all about how you think about your channel and how you think about what content you create for an audience. So that's very much the key in all of these 5 parts, and we're going to start build a foundation for your foundation where you start and think about what you're creating and how you get that to the right people so that they want to subscribe. So it's not about growing via tactics and begging people to sub for sub. No, it's about creating something that people actually want. So part 1, our lesson number 1, the first thing that you need to focus on when you're starting out is your focus. So the first thing to focus on is your focus and knowing what your channel is all about. The question we're answering with this area is, what is my channel about? What is your channel about? And knowing when you create your channels, what are the boundaries for what you do and don't create? So you can think about your favorite movie reviewer. You go to their channel because they review movies. You think about your favorite movie pundit. You know that they talk about movies, and you go there and there's specific things they do talk about and specific things they don't talk about. Now, if you're invested in their personality, you might be interested in some other things that they talk about. But the reason you discovered them is they were focused in on one thing, movie reviews. They were focused in on movie news. They were focused enough on something that you could discover them and go, oh, they're providing something that I want, something that is interesting to me. They don't just talk about all kinds of things. They are focused in on something so the right audience, movie lovers, movie fans, can find them. Likewise, a channel that you love that talks about the latest MMA news, you check them out because they talk about the latest MMA news. I keep wanting to say muse. MMA news. If you showed up and they randomly had a movie review on there, that wouldn't throw you off. But if you found their movie review on there, you wouldn't subscribe to their channel just if they had one movie review, because they talk about MMA news. So having a focus so that the right people can discover the channel. And this is why focus is important. If you want your channel to grow, what you need to have happen is someone that likes your content sees one of your videos, likes it, they click on your about page or your website or YouTube pages page, they go to it and they look at your playlists. They look at your other content and they go, oh, this person creates more videos like this, like the one that I liked. I'm going to subscribe to get the rest of this content. So a focused channel has more content like the one video that they liked. An unfocused channel just has a bunch of random videos. So if you play this out, let's say you have some video that you post out there that's kind of successful, and some people start watching it and they like this video that you did and they click on your page to see what other videos you have. If you have a focused channel, they see, oh, this movie review. Oh, they've got other movie reviews just like it. They're reviewing almost every movie that comes out. Or if you're kind of in a niche market, so you reviewed an anime, they see, oh, a playlist of more animes. Oh, wow, this person's just like me. They like movies like I do. I'm going to subscribe because I want to watch more of their future videos. Or they can then look and see, oh, they like anime and martial arts films, kind of like me. They like Disney movies and they like specifically Pixar movies, and they like they're into animation like me. So it's focused, and so they can see that you meet their need. You have content that they like, so they want to get more of this content from you. So that's a focused channel, but what about the unfocused channel? Well, the big movie coming out this week is It. Let's say you put out a review for It, you put a great thumbnail on there, and it just gets recommended, and you get 5,000 views or 10,000 views or whatever number would be a big number for your channel. You get it on this video, and people go, oh, that was a great review of It. They go to click on your page to see what other stuff you like, and then your channel's all about half about WWE. And so you talk about wrestling, and then there's skits with your brother where he throws a football and hits you in the junk. And then you got, just kind of videos with you ranting about stuff. And then there's 2 videos where you're talking about Supergirl. And it's just kind of all over the place. None of it's connected. And they kind of go through all of it. Oh, you did another movie review 2 months ago. This channel's not for me. It's too kind of scattered. So that's an unfocused channel. Someone found one thing they liked that you did, but it didn't lead to them subscribing and you getting any more views out of them because you're talking about too many different things that are unrelated. They're not connected. There's no focus. It's just scattershot all over the place. And that's why focus isn't so important to gain subscribers. And that's the foundation for everything that we're going to talk about in this first series. And really everywhere this kind of goes is that you have a channel that has a clear purpose for why you do what you do and types of content that you cover and a way you cover that content. So when the right person discovers your channel, they go, this is what I've been looking for. This is the type of person, the type of content that I've wanted. But you have to be focused for that to happen. And everything we're going to talk about flows out of this idea of focus. It's not fun. It's not exciting to talk about your focus, but it's key if you want to set your channel up for future success. Now, here's 3 big mistakes people make with focus. The first one is they just have no focus. It's back in the day when I was growing up, I used to get a suicide drink. That's what we called it back in the day. Maybe they call it something different now. But I would go to the fountain drinks with the soda machine, and I would just get Coke, Diet Coke, Sprite, Dr. Pepper, and I would mix them all together. We called it a suicide. Just absolute no focus. And if you're like a weird 11-year-old like I was, and I would wear 2 different shoes, and I would do every weird thing you could do. So I drank this beverage that was everything, and you drink it, doesn't really taste like anything because it tastes like everything, and it was disgusting. Just like gross drink. That's what I drank back in the day. And as soon as I got older, I was like, this is weird. Why am I doing this? And wanted something that actually tasted good, so I stopped drinking that. That's what your channel is like if you just kind of do everything. And it's just this scatter shot of whatever you want to do on a given occasion. And it's reviews, it's video game live streams, it's just you ranting about stuff. It's talking about the news, it's talking about sports events. When it's like that, no one knows what you're all about. Like it's just all over the place. So no one discovers your channel and goes, this is the channel I've been looking for. And here's what happens is you'll see some famous YouTuber that does stuff kind of like that, where they've already got a platform, they're already kind of famous. Maybe they were on the Disney Channel and that led to them having a YouTube channel, or maybe they just have been on YouTube forever. And so they can kind of just do this kind of, it seems like this free form, talk about whatever they want type of thing, and they get tons of views doing that. Problem is that's personality based. And it's all based around the idea that they've been around a while, they have an established group of people that like them, people will watch anything that they do, and therefore they can put out whatever they want to put out. When you're starting out, if you don't have an established brand following audience behind you, and you just try and do this sort of thing where you talk about anything all over the sun, you just don't get any momentum. You can't get anywhere because people just see your channel and they don't see enough of you. They don't see enough content they like to go, I like you. The personality-based model just does not work for that kind of thing. So you have to have a focus. You can't do the no focus suicide mix, just throw it all in there because no one will discover you at all. It just does not work like that. Second big mistake I see with their focus is generic focus. It's just vanilla. So I'm in the movie space, obviously, you guys know that, talking about movies and TV. And so then there's a lot of people that's their focus. I do movie reviews of movies that come out. And granted, that's kind of what I do. If you talk about movies, that's what we all do. Talk about movies and movie news. But if that's kind of where it ends, is I talk about movies and movie news, it's vanilla, it's generic. And everybody puts out vanilla. Everybody has generic. And if you go to the grocery store, you can find 20 different versions of vanilla. And if all you have is vanilla, you're competing against every other vanilla. So in the movie space, if all you do is review big movies that come out, it's very unlikely that you'll ever get discovered unless there's some special thing about you and how you do things. For the simple fact of the matter, you put out a review of, Thor Ragnarok, you're going to be competing against 10,000 other reviews. And the bulk of the views for all of the people looking for reviews for Thor Ragnarok on YouTube go towards that top 1% of people because they're easiest to be discovered and they're the professionals that have been doing the longest and they're the nicest at it, the cleanest at it. So if you do review big blockbuster things that are kind of vanilla, you just disappear into the mix. Even like on my channel, I've been doing this for a while. I've gotten certain things that kind of get some traction, get a good number of views. My reviews of any big blockbuster movie never take off and get tons of views. They are never the ones that kind of get any viral big success. All of my movie reviews that have been like done really well, kind of top 10 most views for them, they're all like direct-to-video martial arts movies, or they're Phantom event type stuff, or they're Christian movies, things that are much more niche and have a targeted audience that aren't reviewed by as many reviewers, and therefore they can be discovered. When you just do kind of vanilla and review what everyone else is reviewing, you get lost in the mix. So you can't be generic in your focus and say, I just review movies, and have nothing else to what you're doing that makes you pop, because you won't pop. You have to have something about what you're doing that gives it a flavor to it, a spice. Otherwise, you just kind of disappear. The third mistake that I see in people's focus is they have a generic sauce, generic style. They're the mild sauce. Generic style, mild sauce. It's something that, hey, it gives it a little bit of a flavor, but it's nothing interesting. It's nothing that anyone talks about or remembers. It's just mild sauce, what your style is. And what I mean by that is that maybe you talk about something interesting. Maybe you have a focus that pops a little bit. But the way you talk about it, the way you address your, and we'll talk about this more in a future video, but the way you talk about that focus is just generic. Like if you just do movie reviews, that's a little bit generic because there's so many other people doing that, and everyone that does everything else also does reviews. And so if your style and what you cover is just what everyone else does, you don't pop at all. It becomes generic. So the big fear that people have when it comes to focus and going narrow and getting niche and having a really tight focus is you get afraid that, well, if I only have this very narrow focus, I'll have a very small, narrow audience, which is true. Now, there's two things you're kind of going back and forth with when it comes to focus, whether being broad or narrow, is that if you have a narrow focus, it's a lot easier to be discovered, and it's a lot easier for you to find the audience yourself. Because you're talking about this smaller thing, and so there's less competition, you can cut through a lot better, and you can find the subcultures that are already talking about whatever your thing is, so it's easier to find each other. Now, if you go broad, it's much harder for you to be discovered, it's much harder for people to discover you, but there's more future potential for enormous growth, because if you're making content that might appeal to everyone might like what you're doing. But to get there, you have to cut through so much noise. And so finding that right mix of having a focus where there's some flavor to you. You're not just mild sauce. You're not just vanilla. There's a specific flavor to you that's not this super niche, but it's definitely distinct enough. And here's what the deal that makes it a little bit better. You can have a specific focus and still talk about those stuff that has broad appeal. So you can have your focus be on animation, and you can still talk about live action movies, but you're just known as the animation person. So I know several different friends of mine, buddies of mine on YouTube, that have a distinct thing that they talk about. Like for me, mine's kind of trashy action movies and martial arts movies and stuff like that. I review a lot of that sort of stuff at a disproportionate rate compared to other types of things. I don't rush out to go see indie movies. I talk about more martial arts movies and action movies and stuff like that. That gives me a flavor. I do ranking videos. That's basically movie reviews in like big clustered form, but it's a different flavor than doing normal things. So if you just kind of walk through my channel, if you apply these principles to my channel and how I've done all this. So my focus is that I want to talk movies with people. I want to talk movies with people. I don't want to just talk about movies. I want to talk about movies with you. That's my tagline. All that goes back to this key idea that I'm not just trying to do reviews to give you recommendations. I want to start a conversation with you. So for that reason, I intentionally do slightly longer videos that have more content, that put more ideas out there, where I try and talk about why I think what I think, where I'm coming from. It's not just a recommendation, it's a discussion of a movie. That's why I do ranking videos. By their nature, you're comparing two things, and that leads to a discussion. That's why my call to action in almost every video is, I don't want to just talk about movies, I want to talk about movies with you, so please join me in the comment section, because I want to have that discussion. That's my focus, and that's where my name came from, and all these different things that I do. It all ties back to my focus is I want to talk movies with people, not just I want to talk movies or recommend movies. Also, if you look at my channel, if you look at my kind of focus, I like broad, appealing entertainment with a bent towards action movies and sci-fi. So you see a lot of Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then as well action movies. You see, I've read Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. So you can see a hint of what the sorts of stuff that appeal to me, but that gives a flavor to it. I'm far more likely to run to the Redbox and rent a crappy direct-to-Blu-ray piece of garbage starring old man Bruce Willis than I am to drive across town to go see a cool indie movie that's actually pretty good. That's just my taste in movies. As I talk about, that's even why I talk about Taco Bell movies and things like that, because that's my taste. I'm looking to be entertained. Action movies, sci-fi entertain me, so that's more the flavor of what I talk about. Now, I'll certainly review some indie movies, smaller movies, and things like that, but that's not the thing that when you think Sean Chandler, you don't immediately go, yeah, that guy loves indie movies. He's really into obscure stuff. I'm not trying to do that. So you can see the flavor and you can see kind of boundaries of what I do and don't focus on. And like I said, finally, I also do a lot of ranking videos because they spark conversation. And that's what I'm all about. That's why I have the name Sean Chandler Talks About, because it's all about talking with people, getting your interactions with people. It's all part of the focus. So as the kind of final thoughts on this particular training little module, some questions to ask. What is my channel about? What is your focus? What is your channel all about? Second one, what is my channel not about? That's a hard one for some of you. Some of you guys, when you're like, because you want to talk about movies, you want to talk about TV, you want to talk about UFC, you want to talk about professional wrestling, you want to put out skit videos. And by the time you do all that stuff and have reaction videos and all sorts of stuff, there's no focus. So what are you not going to talk about on your channel? And that's one where I think about that often. Like, what do I need to start cutting from my channel so I can focus in on the things that I do best, that are the most distinct for my channel? How do I focus in? So second question, what is my channel not about? Third, what is unique about my channel and how I tackle my subject? What is unique about my channel and how I tackle my subject? Is there a different angle you take, a different analysis you take, a different strategy in how you compare movies, characters, discuss things? What is unique about your angle? Like I said, part of mine is that I'm all about wanting to spark conversations and discussions, and that's all factored into my strategy and how I do social media, how I interact with comments, all of it. And that goes back to my focus is all about I want to talk movies with people. So what is it for your channel? What makes your channel unique in how it handles your subject? Anyway, that's part one in my discussion of what are the 5 things you need to focus on when you're getting started. I hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them down below. And if you have any questions that you actually want me to make a video about, tell me that as well, and I'll try and tackle some of those so I can be, like I said, I want to be as helpful as I can, and hopefully this will be something you guys enjoy, because I enjoy doing this, and so if there's a demand for it, I can do a lot more of this. Maybe this will be my nice little perk on my Patreon page. Thank you guys so much.